The Arabian Sea is a volatile, punishing force. For early coastal inhabitants, the ocean was a dominant and relentless element, commanding complete authority over the land. Standing on this jagged, barren edge, the kinetic energy of the ocean is overwhelming. It batters the stone and rapidly erodes any attempt at shelter, making mere survival here an endless, exhausting struggle against the tides. This specific stretch of land acts as a brutal boundary line. The salt water constantly corrodes the soil. The winds are harsh, and there are absolutely no natural barriers to break the incoming swells. Logically, it is the absolute last place anyone would choose to build a capital city. To tame an environment this violently opposed to human settlement requires extraordinary intervention. It requires an engineering vision on a scale that borders on the impossible. According to ancient tradition, that vision belonged to Lord Krishna. Facing these chaotic waters, he saw the potential for the ultimate terraforming project. Rather than retreating inland to safety, the strategy pushed aggressively outward. Massive fortifications would rise directly from the ocean floor, violently displacing the water to claim new ground. Executing this required a vast, highly organized mobilization. Thousands of master craftsmen and architects, described in the texts as possessing divine skill, descended onto the raw coast to begin carving a metropolis out of the waves. Forcing the Arabian Sea into submission inverted the hierarchy of the coast. The same water that once threatened survival now served as the base for an expanding empire. The shoreline underwent a rapid transformation. Immense stone foundations locked together, replacing the rugged coast with rigid, engineered borders. These artificial boundaries enclosed the turbulent waters, turning a deadly hazard into a highly efficient superhighway for global trade. Because the sea was successfully weaponized for commerce, foreign wealth poured in. Enormous merchant ships docked in the new ports, alongside warriors and citizens eager to participate in this booming coastal economy. The economic engine at the water's edge funded massive vertical expansion inland. Sprawling royal courtyards, grand public squares, and towering golden temples shot up continuously across the newly claimed land. The genius of Dwarka lay in its total subjugation of its environment. It took the wildest forces of the natural world and harnessed them to build the wealthiest, most advanced economic center of its time. At its absolute peak, this was a city radiating stability and immense wealth. It stood as a utopian metropolis, seamlessly fused with the ocean harbor it had conquered. The massive infrastructure supported intense cultural and spiritual life. The waterways and streets were packed with people participating in daily rituals and vibrant public celebrations. Observing this dense, thriving society from the high palace balconies, Lord Krishna stood at the pinnacle of a seemingly invincible kingdom. Basking in the golden hour light, the civilization looked permanent. It appeared to have completely neutralized the chaotic forces of the natural world. But within the logic of mythology, this level of earthly perfection carries a massive tension. Once a kingdom achieves absolute utopian completeness, the cycle dictates that the only remaining stage is dissolution. The subjugation of the natural world could only last so long. The environmental balance eventually shifted, making it brutally clear that the ocean's retreat was strictly temporary. The tides began to rise with uncontrollable force. Dark, massive swells slammed into the engineered defenses, violently pouring over the giant stone seawalls that were supposed to be invincible. The submergence was systematic and total. First, the harbor roads vanished into the surge. Then the marketplaces flooded, until finally the golden palace domes themselves were swallowed by the rising waters. The ocean's brutal reclamation proves a core law of the ancient world. No amount of engineering, mortal or divine, can permanently overwrite the vast, enduring forces of the earth. Today, the myth tells of a magnificent, silent ruin. Preserved in the darkness of the ocean floor, the great pillars and golden architecture sit completely isolated from the world above. This total submergence perfectly completes an ancient cyclical philosophy. A civilization moves from radical creation into a period of perfect preservation and ultimately into total cosmic dissolution. The physical destruction failed to erase the city. The memory of this golden metropolis anchored itself deeply into the spiritual consciousness of the modern coastline. The modern city of Dwarka sits exactly on that edge. It operates as a powerful nexus of historical mystery and intense devotion, drawing endless generations to the same waters that supposedly took the original kingdom. Dwarka's ultimate power persists as a legacy of visionary triumph and a humbling reminder of nature's inevitable return.